Good evening, and thank you for joining us for tonight's virtual town hall for the City of Austin's Curbside Composting program. I'm your moderator, Ashley Pace, Public Information Specialist with Austin Resource Recovery. First, I'd like to introduce our speakers, Austin Resource Recovery Public Information and Marketing Manager, Memi Cardenas, and Community Engagement Specialist, Amy Mosman. Together, they will provide us with information about how to use the program, as well as what it means for ARR and its customers. Next, I'd like to welcome and thank our interpreters joining us tonight to provide information in Spanish via ATXN3 and Vietnamese via the conference bridge listed on your screen. Next slide. Following the presentation, we will open it up to questions received via email, Facebook, Speak Up Austin 313, or through our interpreters. Any questions we are unable to answer in our time with you this evening, we will respond to tomorrow.
Welcome. You are our newest curbside composting customers, or you're here to learn more information about curbside composting. So curbside composting began in 2012 as a pilot program in approximately 14,000 homes in an effort to reduce waste and to help Austin reach its zero waste goal by 2040. After a successful pilot, our City Council approved an expansion of the program to begin in 2017. So in 2017, we rolled out phase 1. In 2018, we rolled out phase 2, and in 2019, we rolled out phase 3 out of 4 phases. The expansion was initially planned to roll out over the course of those 4 years, but the final expansion was delayed due to the COVID-19 pandemic. The 4th and final expansion of the program is now happening next month, February 2021. Next slide. So cart delivery actually started 2 days ago. And all those newly included customers will be receiving their green carts prior to the first day of service. Some customers have already received their welcome packets. The welcome packets include a welcome letter, a how-to guide explaining the using of the new green composting cart, a what goes where brochure for proper disposal of unwanted household items, and information on how to save money by downsizing your cart. Next slide. Okay, so what is it going to look like now to be included in the curbside composting collection program? First, you're going to get a new green 32-gallon cart. Your weekly collection will begin on the same day as your trash collection. So that first collection, for those of you who have a Monday or Tuesday date, will begin on the 8th or the 9th of February. For those of you with a Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday collection day, you're going to see that new service starting on the 17th, 18th, and 19th of February. Customers who use their new composting cart usually find that they can downsize their trash cart and save money on their utility bill. Most customers have a 64-gallon cart, and they can save $76 when they downsize to a 24-gallon cart. Those who want to just downsize to a 32-gallon cart can save $61. And then our customers with our largest cart, 96-gallon trash cart, they can save $322 a year by switching to that 24-gallon trash cart. Now, we know this is new, and you may have concerns about where you're going to keep the new cart, how and whether you and your family will use it. We're asking that you give it a try for a couple of weeks. If you decide that it doesn't work for you, then you can call Austin Energy at 512-494-9400, and we'll arrange to have that cart picked up. Because curbside recycling, composting, our biannual large brush and bulk collections are bundled and paid for from the base fee in your utility bill, customers who return their green cart will still be charged for the service, whether they choose to participate or not. Next slide. So Austin Resource Recovery, we're dedicated to protecting the environment, providing excellent customer service, and promoting those programs and services that are going to help Austin reach zero waste by the year 2040. Getting there will mean all Austinites reduce, reuse, recycle, and compost as much as possible to make sure we're leaving behind a city and a planet the next generation will be proud to inherit. Composting is a natural process that breaks down compostable materials like food scraps and yard trimmings into a dark, earthy, soil-like material. Compost helps with water retention, and it's often used to fertilize crops, lawns, gardens, other outdoor areas without chemicals. The benefits from the process are numerous. Landfills create methane, and then by reducing the amount of solid waste we add to the landfills, we're able to reduce the amount of greenhouse gases that are going into the atmosphere. All the residential trash from our City of Austin customers is taken to a local landfill, which currently has an estimated 13 years remaining before it has to either expand or close. We have the second least landfill capacity in the entire state of Texas. Recycled food turned into compost improves water retention and adds nutrients to the soil. Healthy soil creates healthy food. Another option or another benefit is that compost serves as natural soil enhancer and is a chemical-free fertilizer that requires fewer pesticides. Synthetic fertilizers, they run off into our water. They cause toxic algae blooms and some other issues. So you can see that the benefits of compost are substantial. Compost is good for the environment, but why does it matter so much? It matters because a recent study shows that nearly half, 46% of all materials in Austin landfills can be composted. Compostable material cannot break down in a landfill as it would in nature or in a compost pile. Instead, it decomposes without oxygen and releases harmful methane into the atmosphere. Next slide. So, how do we get from the green cart to compost? First, Austin Resource Recovery staff collect the materials that are in your green cart, and we deliver them to a local commercial processor. Today, that company is Organics by Gosh. Next, the materials are placed in a large pile where microorganisms begin to break the material down. As they do, they release heat, and the temperature of the material starts to rise. That process usually used to take 6 months to 1 year. With recent changes in their process, any items that you're putting in that green compost cart are completely composted in approximately 150 days. Finally, that finished compost is sold by the commercial processor, and it's used to improve soil quality in gardens and outdoor areas. Next slide. Okay, so here's the big question. What can you put in your green cart? It's really easy. If it grows, it goes. So let us explain exactly what we mean with this video. And a quick little note, the video says 2020, but because of the effects COVID had on us all, just imagine it says 2021.
Tired of throwing all your food scraps in the trash? Wish there was something you could do with all your yard trimmings? Want to do more to help Austin reach its zero waste goal? Well, now you can. Austin Resource Recovery is expanding their curbside composting program citywide. They're adding new homes every year and plan to provide this service to all customers by 2020.
So, how do we use this green cart?
Start with your kitchen collector.
What all can I put in here?
What do you have?
Dairy products?
Yes,
Coffee grounds and tea bags?
absolutely.
Pet hair?
Of course.
Pasta?
Yes,
Bread?
yes,
And tortillas?
and yes.
Fruits and vegetables?
You know it.
Popsicle sticks?
Those two.
Cooked and raw meat or bones?
Affirmative.
Paper products with food on them?
Indeed.
Spoiled food?
Of course. Simply place all your food scraps and food soiled paper in it. Even pizza boxes.
Pizza boxes?
That's awesome!
Put them directly in your green cart.
What about all these yard trimmings?
Little small blades of green grass?
How about flowers, leaves, plants, and straw?
All of that.
Small branches and tree limbs?
What about tree roots?
If it grows, it goes in the green composting cart.
Then what do we do?
After you've placed all your food scraps and yard trimmings in your new green curbside composting cart, roll it out to the curb by 6:30 a.m. every week on your trash collection day. It's that easy.
Thanks, Curbside Composting.
Woo!
Visit austintexas.gov/austincomposts to find out if your home is in the expansion area. Learn more about curbside composting and what goes in your green cart. Austin Resource Recovery is a department of the City of Austin.
Next slide, please. Thank you, Amy, and we hope you enjoyed that video. Now that you know everything that goes in your green cart, let's talk about what you can do with extra. If you have too much if you have too many yard trimmings, if you have too much food, we ask that you first fill the green cart. And then anything that you have left over, you use those paper lawn and leaf bags to put in the rest of your yard trimmings, or you could use a reusable container at home. So now that we know what goes in the green cart, let's talk about how this affects your other services and how we can dispose of other unwanted household items. This new service, it does not affect your blue recycling cart. We ask you to continue to keep putting all glass, plastic, paper, and metal in your blue recycling cart and set it out for collection every other week. Then we have bulk items, which are large items that are too big to fit in your trash can. In your brown trash cart. Now, when we set those out in 3 piles of metals, non-metals, and tires, those can be properly diverted from the landfill for recycling or for reuse, and as opposed to being sent directly to the landfill. Another option we have for disposal of unwanted items in your home is the Recycle and Reuse Drop-Off Center. Now, we do have to note that currently, due to COVID concerns and to protect all of the public and our staff, we have temporarily closed the Recycle and Reuse Drop-Off Center. We will reopen eventually, and when it does, you can drop off plastic film, styrofoam, cardboard boxes. You can drop off housewares for collection there as well, including household hazardous waste, paints, chemicals, batteries, and electronics. Then we can move on to items that you may have at home that are still in good condition, that somebody else may be able to benefit from them. Consider donating to a local charity or gifting to your friends and neighbors those items that you may just not want anymore, but they're still in working condition. And lastly, there is your trash cart. So we ask that you guys explore other options for these items that you may not want in your home before putting them in your brown trash cart. Next slide, please. So we did just show you a list of items, that common household items that you may not know how to properly dispose of. Now we know that we couldn't show you everything in your home. So for that, we have this handy tool called What Do I Do With? To access this tool, you can visit our website, austinrecycles.com, or download the mobile app onto any of your devices. With this tool, you can search for anything in your home you may not know what to do with, and we'll give you the proper disposal options. If you don't find what you're looking for, don't worry. There's a suggest button, and that will come back to our staff, and we'll make sure that it's added to the tool. Next slide, please. Also available, another resource we have to help you, help us reach zero waste and live that zero waste lifestyle, is the My Schedule tool. Once again, you can access this resource through our website, austinrecycles.com, or you can download the app onto your phone. The app is available where all mobile apps are available. With this app, if you choose to do the web app, you will receive a reminder either via text message, a phone call, or an email letting you know about reminding you of your collection days, when to set out your carts. Additionally, you'll get reminders about those biannual large brush and bulk collections. And if we happen to have a service delay or disruption, you will also receive information via the tool. If you download the app onto your phone, these will be sent to you via push notification through your phone. Additionally, if you do not want these reminders coming through your phone, your email, your text messages, you can print out your collection schedule and post it in your house wherever you feel is the most convenient. Next slide, please. Kitchen collectors. In the past, we have been able to distribute these kitchen collectors at our in-person open houses. Unfortunately, due to COVID this year, we're doing the open house virtually to provide you with all this great information and resources, but we aren't currently able to distribute these kitchen collectors to you. Once it's safe and we can safely get these in your hands, we will let everybody know via our Facebook page. So like us on Facebook at Austin Recycles, or with other methods of communication so that we can get you this kitchen collector. Until then, you can collect food scraps in any reusable container in your kitchen. You could use coffee cans, plastic storage, food containers, or even any other kind of kitchen collector. We do recommend that you keep your kitchen collector in a convenient location in your kitchen. I keep mine in the freezer, but some people prefer to place it under the kitchen sink or on the countertop. There's no wrong place to keep it, but it should be somewhere convenient and easy to use for you. While cooking or cleaning up, just place your food scraps directly in the kitchen collector. And then when it's time to take it out is when it's full, you can take it out. And then also when it's time to set out your green cart, just place all these food scraps and yard trimmings in your cart and set it out at the curb by 6:30 on your collection day. Next slide, please. So we know when we think about composting, we know it is food that is breaking down. These are organic materials that do break down, like Amy mentioned earlier. And some people might be concerned about what we're calling the ick factor, because it can be a little icky. We have a long list of resources to help you with the ick factor. And I can tell you personally, I freed my food scraps. There's no ick involved. So we'd like to share with you this video with more tips on how to keep your kitchen collector and your green cart fresh and clean.
You know, I'm having such a good time. But what's that smell?
What is it? Is it?
Do you suffer from smelly kitchen collector? Studies show that most people are concerned with kitchen collector and composting cart odor. You need help.
I just don't know how to keep it so fresh and so clean.
It's easy. You can use a paper bag or newspaper to line the collector, or use a BPI certified compostable bag. Look for this logo. Sprinkle with baking soda. You can hand wash with soap and water, or you can clean it in the dishwasher. Keep the collector in the freezer along with the food scraps. Got it?
This really is so easy. But what about my green composting cart?
That's even easier. Remember to line with leaves, paper, or pizza boxes. Sprinkle with baking soda. Or wash it out with mild soap and water. Keep in the shade. Keep the lid closed.
That's so easy.
Sure is.
Thanks, mister.
Who are you talking to?
There was a man in a suit right now.
It smells really, really good in here.
Were you wearing that dress before?
I don't know.
This has been a great party.
Visit austintexas.gov/AustinComposts to learn more about curbside composting and how to keep your kitchen collector and green composting cart fresh and clean.
Great, next slide. So Austin Resource Recovery, we're dedicated to protecting the environment, providing excellent customer service, and promoting programs and services that are going to help us reach that zero waste goal by 2040. It's a big goal and we need everyone's help. There are several ways that you can reach us to ask questions. We have an interactive page on speakupaustin.com. Or, my apologies, you can reach us by email. You can find us on Facebook and you can call us at 311. Stick around because all of this information is going to be on our Facebook post. On February 26th, we will also be hosting an Ask Me Anything on Reddit. For those of you who have gotten your carts, you've given it a try, but you still have some questions. That will be from 11 a.m. until 1 p.m. You can also visit our webpage or Speak Up Austin for some more details.
At this time, we will begin answering questions submitted via email, Facebook, Speak Up Austin 311, or through our wonderful interpreters. The first question is for Memi, coming from our Facebook Live. The question is, so this replaces the current yard trimmings pickup. If we have a lot of yard trimmings, will we be able to set out an additional yard trimmings back?
Absolutely. We ask that you fill your green cart first, and the additional yard trimmings can be placed either in those lawn and leaf bags or in your reusable container at home. And I do need to note that there is never a charge for any additional composting or yard trimming set out for collection.
Our second question is for Amy and comes via our Facebook Live. Is the home rebate program still available to purchase a composting container?
Absolutely. The home rebate program is still active. And once you take the class, you are eligible for that $75 rebate. Now, when it comes to using your compost in the backyard, there are some items that just aren't able to be composted in that way. That includes dairy, meat, bones, things that animals would be getting into. This is the circumstance where you would take those items and you would now put those into your green composting cart on the curb and set that out once a week.
Our next question is for Memi and comes via our Speak Up Austin page. What if customers do not have enough room to set their carts 5 feet apart?
So we understand that now you have 3 carts at home, and setting them all 5 feet apart can be challenging, given that sometimes the real estate in front of our homes just isn't that wide. We do ask that you do the best that you can and leave as much space between them as possible and away from other obstacles. That's really also a challenge. So away from mailboxes, parked cars, maybe basketball hoops. The reason that we ask this is because some of our vehicles are fully automated, which means there's that hand that comes down, grabs your cart and tips it. We want to make sure that we're not damaging personal property and that we can collect all of your curbside carts adequately.
Our next question also comes from Speak Up Austin, and this is for Amy. Why aren't plastic bags accepted in the green composting cart?
There are some types of bags that are accepted in the green compost cart. They need to have BPI certification. There's a logo, it was shown in the video, and there's more information on our webpage as well if you would like to see what that looks like. But when it comes to having the materials delivered to our commercial processor, if the plastic bag doesn't break down, then it becomes trash. and it could actually contaminate some of the other materials that are there to be composted. So if you're in doubt, if you are in question, it's best to go ahead and leave the plastic bag aside and go ahead and put all of those materials directly into the cart.
Our next question is for Memi and comes from our Speak Up Austin page. Is it better to recycle or compost paper products?
That is a great question, and it depends on the paper itself. If it's paper product that has food on it, let's say it's a paper plate or a greasy pizza box, we ask that you compost those. If it's clean paper in pristine condition or, without any food on it or any residue on it, you can recycle that. The reason is that you cannot remove grease and food from paper. So if we put those in our blue recycling cart, we contaminate that stream. But when we take these papers that have been soiled with food and place them in our compost collection, it will break down into compost.
Our next question is for Amy and comes via Speak Up Austin. Should customers set the green cart at the curb even if it isn't full? Why?
That's a great question. Absolutely. Even if there is nothing more than a single apple or a spare piece of meat from your evening dinner, go ahead and set that out on the curb. We will collect it. We will collect as little or as much as you set out there for us, and that will help avoid that ick factor that we had talked about earlier, keeping that cart clean and empty.
Our next question is for Memi and comes via our Facebook Live. Can't they drop off the kitchen collector when they drop off the green composting cart?
While it would be amazing if we could do that, logistically, it would just be very challenging. Our operators are dedicated and focused on collecting your carts. There wouldn't really be room for them in the cab of the vehicle. And also the vehicles that drop off the green carts are large box trucks. And we actually have a contractor that does that work for us. And they are so speedy and efficient. We have sometimes shadowed them on the drop-offs, and they're just laser focused on dropping off these green carts at your home. I understand, and it's an inconvenience, and we really apologize. And we wish we could have done these open houses or this open house in person and have that opportunity to interact and provide customers with physical resources, with the compost collectors and some compostable bags. And we hope to in the future very soon be able to do that for you, but at the time we're just not able to.
Our next question is for Amy, and it comes via our Facebook Live. Can pet waste go into the curbside composting bin?
That is another really good question. Any fecal matter should stay out of the composting bin. It needs to go into your trash cart. The reason is that we need to make sure that those handling the composting cart, that it's sanitary and safe to do. So pet waste, soiled diapers, tissues from your bathroom, all of these that might have been exposed or were exposed to fecal matter, those should all go into your trash cart.
Our next question is from Speak Up Austin. This is also for Amy. Amy, can we receive free compost from this program?
The compost or the materials that are put into your green cart are then taken to our commercial processor, where they go ahead and finish that process. So those materials right now are going to Organics by Gosh. Organics by Gosh does sell finished compost, either in bulk or bagged, but you would need to contact them to get more information about their hours and their process so that you can go ahead and pick that up in a safe manner.
Our next question is for Memi and comes via our Speak Up Austin page. How does the curbside service differ from a home composting pile?
Good question. And we get this a lot because some people may say, do I really need this green cart? I already compost my food scraps at home. And while we commend you for already taking those extra steps to help us reach zero waste and to keep your lawns fertile and clean and making the most of your food scraps, we would like to note that there are some items that we do not recommend you place in your backyard composter that would go in your green collection, curbside collection cart. These items include bones, meat, dairy products, even whole pizza boxes. So while we do encourage you to continue to compost at home, those other materials, you can still use your cart for those items that are not recommended to be placed in a backyard composter.
Our next question is for Amy. Amy, this comes via our Speak Up Austin page. I live in a multifamily building. Can I get a composting cart?
At this time, so multifamily properties are not part of our curbside collection program. These sorts of multifamily or apartment settings, they are contracted through your property manager or your landlord. And so what I would do is encourage you to reach out to your property management or your landlord and ask them to provide this service if it's something that you think would be useful. But unfortunately, because you're not participating in Austin Resource Recovery's curbside composting program, the expansion doesn't quite reach you.
Our next question is for Mummy. This comes via the ARR Facebook page. Since grease and cooking oil go in the trash, can paper towels with grease or cooking oil be composted?
Yes, you can. This would be part of the food soiled papers in it. We don't want an extreme amount of grease in there because it doesn't allow these materials to break down. But if you have a napkin that you wiped up some grease or that you used for, wiping your mouth, that is okay. A small amount of grease and oil is allowed.
Our next question is for Amy. This comes from our ARR Facebook page. I've read that waxed paper, including paper plates that have glossy surfaces, aren't compostable. Is there certain paper plates I can put in the composting cart?
That's another great question. So this is a lot like the bags and putting them into your composting cart. There are a lot of materials that are out there that are compostable, right? Or they are marketed as such. What matters is that it has either a BPI or an ASTMI certification. What that certification means is that the item has been shown to break down completely in 90 days, right, when it's sent to a commercial processor. As I mentioned before, all of your organic materials that you put into that green cart are turned into compost in 150 days. For those items that don't have that certification, while they may still be compostable, right, they still may break down, they may not do so in the time frame that is necessary for our processor. And if that happens, they actually become trash and they get sent off to the landfill. So always when you buy those products, double check, take a look, and see if you've got the certification for compostable.
Our next question is for Mummy. This comes from our Speak Up Austin page. You said that the program started with a pilot back in 2012. How much compostable material has been collected from the program so far?
So we are very excited to share with you that from the beginning of the program, from the pilots starting in 2014 up until today, we have been able to keep over 91,000 tons of material out of the landfill. That's 181,000 pounds, I think, if we're talking in pounds. So that is exciting. what I'd love to share is imagine how much more we could keep out if we're all using our green carts. Currently, we unfortunately have a low set out rate, which means that we're not seeing as many green carts on the curb as we would like. And if we're all doing our part and we're all using our green carts, we can definitely increase the amount of organic and compostable material that's going to the landfill currently. Like Amy mentioned earlier in the presentation, we did a study in 2015 where we found that 46%, so almost half of everything in our residential trash was actually compostable material. So while 91,000 tons is a huge feat, I know we can do better. We can do more, not better, more.
Our next question comes from our ARR Facebook page. This is for Amy. If I put a soiled pizza box in the compost cart, should I break it down, like tear it into specific dimensions, then place it in the cart?
So if the bottom of that pizza box has been soiled with grease from the pizza or has other food residue, then we ask that you tear it in half. And generally speaking, the top part of that pizza box doesn't have that food contamination. That can actually be recycled. So you would recycle the top half, and then the bottom half where you've got the contamination or you've got food residue on it, that can go into the composting cart. But it is not necessary to break it down into smaller chunks. You can send the entire pizza box bottom into the composting cart without worrying about making it credit card size or tearing it half or quarters. That doesn't matter.
Our next question is from our ARR Facebook page. Are fat trimmings from meat allowed in the curbside composting cart? Memi?
I'm sorry, Ashley, can you repeat that?
Yes, sorry about that. This question is for Memi from our ARR Facebook page. Are fat trimmings from meat allowed in the curbside composting cart?
Yes, this is similar to, the food soiled paper. Well, we don't want whole buckets of grease. I mean, what we're saying, let's say you fried a turkey for Thanksgiving. That grease we ask that you drop off or that oil at the recycle and reuse drop off center. But trimmings from fat, let's say you had a delicious steak for dinner, the fat that you trimmed off, if you don't want to enjoy it, you can place it in your green cart.
The next question is for Amy. This comes from our Speak Up Austin page. I missed the beginning of the presentation. When is the first collection day?
That's a great question. I'm glad you asked it. So the first collection day, for those people who have Monday and Tuesday trash cart collection, your compost cart will be collected the same day, weekly, just as you currently are. So those who have a Monday or Tuesday will be the 8th and the 9th of February. Those who have a Wednesday, Thursday, Friday root collection, those are going to happen on the 17th, 18th, and 19th of February. So those are going to be alternating weeks. That gives us time to really make sure that this is as seamless as possible.
Our next question is for Memi. This comes from our Speak Up Austin page. How were neighborhoods selected for the expansions?
Great question. So the first expansion was based on route efficiency. So we were in the pilot areas, and we really want to maximize that route efficiencies. We don't want our vehicles traversing the entire city. We want to expand on where we're already collecting. So we looked at the map where the pilot areas were, and we started expanding around those areas. And as we moved out and as we expanded the program further, we looked at the map each time and expanded it to make sure that we were maximizing the route efficiencies and that we're providing the best customer service. Additionally, we looked at the city as a whole and made sure that we were providing the service throughout the entire city to all of our customers at the same percentage.
Our next question is for Amy. This comes from our Speak Up Austin page. Can we compost paper towels with a cleaning solution on it?
That is a great question. We do want to keep an abundance of chemicals out of the compost. So it really depends on the amount of chemicals that you've got on that. Let me double check and can you confirm that?
Yeah, I mean, we would recommend that we not put any chemicals or cleaning products into the composting. What we want you to think about is what goes into your green cart eventually is going to feed and nourish the soil where we grow our food and in our green spaces where our families play. We want to make sure that we keep it as clean and as organic and pure as possible. So we wouldn't recommend that, putting anything that's soiled with cleaning products into the composting.
Thanks, Memi.
Yeah.
Our next question is from our Facebook page. Amy will ask this one to you. Can eggshells go into the curbside composting cart?
Absolutely. Anything that grows can go. So eggshells are actually a really great nutrient, and when they get added to compost, they really help produce that sort of nutritional value that is necessary, that you're looking for in a nutrient-rich compost. So eggshells are perfect. Walnut shells are fine. Go ahead and put those into your compost bin. They will break down, and the results will be what we're looking for.
This will be our final question. This is for Memi. Memi, can you reiterate the benefits of composting? Why should I care if I can just put it in my trash cart?
You know, this is a question that a lot of us may have. You know, we're not as familiar or as comfortable with these other services that we're expanding in Austin. And people, you know, we're mostly just so used to the trash cart and the trash can and the concept of throwing it away, it going away. Now, unfortunately, we know that away doesn't really exist. Away is a landfill, which is essentially a very well-maintained, very clean hole in the ground. We can choose to put all of our unwanted items in the landfills and keep our dependency on the landfills, or we can choose to take advantage of these natural resources that we have and compost them and help fertilize our green areas. So that's one of the benefits. Another benefit is improving the air quality, the air that you breathe. When we send organic material to the landfill, it breaks down anaerobically, which means without oxygen, and that creates methane gas. Now, I can say that the air quality in Austin is good, and it has traditionally been good air quality. So let's keep it that way. As our city grows and as we have more people move in and as we become a denser population, we create more unwanted items or waste. We want to make sure that we're protecting our air quality, that we're protecting our water quality, and preserving the environment for future generations. So those are two of the main benefits of composting. And as Amy mentioned earlier as well, it extends the life of the landfill. The less items that we put into the landfill, the longer we can use that resource.
Thank you, Memi and Amy. You've done an excellent job answering our questions. This concludes the question portion of our presentation. For any of you watching, if you have additional questions, please feel free to submit them via our email, Facebook, Speak Up Austin 311, and we will respond to you tomorrow. This concludes our virtual town hall. Please visit our website at austintexas.gov/composting for more information, tips, videos, and to view our digital how-to guide. Thank you and have a good night.
Thank you.